A black belt once asked a simple woman to fight as a joke, but what happened next silenced the entire gym. Sometimes the quietest people carry the loudest secrets, and Tyler Garrison was about to learn why you should never judge a book by its cover. Rebecca Thompson pushed through the heavy glass doors of Master Kim's martial arts academy, her worn sneakers squeaking against the polished floor as the familiar scent of sweat and determination filled her nostrils. She scanned the training area for her 16-year-old daughter, Chloe, who waved from across the blue mats where she was practicing with other teenagers. Rebecca, 38, smiled and tucked a strand of graying hair behind her ear, comfortable in her simple appearance, no makeup, oversized gray t-shirt and sweatpants, because life had taught her that what mattered most wasn't on the surface. She settled onto a bench to wait, watching as Tyler Garrison, the head instructor, barked sharp commands at his students, his black belt gleaming and his arrogance on full display. His clean movements showed skill, but his demeaning tone revealed foolish pride. Chloe eventually ran over, flushed from practice, excited about testing for her green belt soon, and as they gathered their things, Tyler suddenly called for an entertaining demonstration. His predatory gaze fell on Rebecca, and despite Chloe's nervous protests, he insisted on a friendly spar to prove how untrained people compared to real fighters. The dojo grew tense as he mocked Rebecca, assuming she was an ordinary suburban mom, but when she agreed under one condition, that he apologize afterward, his mocking laughter only fueled the moment. Removing her jacket, Rebecca revealed lean, disciplined arms, and as she stepped onto the mat, her demeanor shifted from tired mother to composed fighter. Nobody in the room, not even Tyler, knew that Rebecca Thompson had once been Rebecca Chin, three-time world champion in mixed martial arts, nicknamed the Silent Storm for her calm presence and devastating technique, who had retired young after tragedy struck when her brother died in a car accident on his way to one of her matches. If she hadn't been competing, her brother wouldn't have been on that road that night, and the guilt had driven Rebecca to walk away from everything, the titles, endorsements, and the life she'd built. She changed her name back to her mother's maiden name, moved across the country, and swore never to fight again. For 13 years, she kept that promise, pouring herself into raising Chloe and building a quiet life as a graphic designer. But now, watching Tyler's smug face as he lectured his students about how real fighters handled wannabes, Rebecca felt the old fire stir, not for glory, but for respect. "You ready, Mrs. Thompson?" Tyler called out, bouncing on his toes in what he thought was intimidation. Rebecca centered herself, her breathing steady, the room falling quieter as if they sensed something they couldn't name. Tyler announced, "Just remember, you can't fake experience," words Rebecca found ironic, having faced Olympic champions and world-class fighters. When he asked if she had any last words, she locked eyes with him, her cold, predatory gaze making him flinch, and replied, "You might want to remember the strongest people are often the ones who choose not to show their strength." His smirk faltered, but pride forced him forward. He stretched with theatrical flair, throwing air punches for show, while Rebecca stood still, posture low, weight balanced, every detail betraying the presence of a trained fighter. Chloe whispered, "Mom, you don't have anything to prove," but Rebecca smiled gently and said, "Sometimes it's not about proving, it's about teaching." Tyler circled her, mocking her as a weekend warrior, lecturing the kids about how skill takes years. Rebecca simply agreed, which unsettled him further, then added, "You wanted to teach a lesson. Let's teach one." Tyler, irritated, launched forward with a textbook right cross, fast and powerful, but it never came close. Rebecca slipped off the line with surgical precision, her body flowing around the strike like water, so smooth many watching weren't even sure she'd moved at all. Tyler stumbled, stunned that his signature punch had missed. "Lucky dodge," he muttered before trying a jab cross-hook combination, each blow sharp and practiced, but Rebecca was smoke, sliding just beyond reach, slipping each attack with effortless timing. She didn't rush, didn't strain, just flowed, as though she knew his strikes before he threw them. The dojo fell into absolute silence, the excited chatter replaced by the electric tension of witnessing something extraordinary. Even the youngest students sensed they were watching mastery. Tyler's confidence cracked as sweat beaded on his forehead, his attacks finding nothing but air, his certainty unraveling with every failed attempt. "Stand still and fight," Tyler snarled as he launched a furious barrage of strikes, but Rebecca's movements remained effortless, her body flowing around each blow with surgical precision. With every dodge, she drew closer, subtly closing the distance as Tyler exhausted himself, his strikes growing sloppy and desperate. "What's she doing?" whispered one student. "She's making him tired," another answered knowingly. Then came a wild haymaker, Tyler throwing his full weight into it, but Rebecca slipped beneath it and, for the first time, touched him, a featherlight tap against his ribs as he spun past her, a silent reminder that she could have ended it. His face flushed with panic. "What are you playing at?" "Fight back," he barked. Rebecca's calm reply cut through the silence. "I am fighting. I'm just choosing how." Her words hung heavy in the air, revealing that she wasn't avoiding the fight. She was in complete control of it. Desperate, Tyler lowered his stance and lunged for a takedown, relying on his wrestling to drag her down where his size might matter. But it was the worst possible choice. Rebecca stepped forward into his attack, her timing flawless, guiding his momentum with practiced precision. With the gentlest of redirections, she pulled him down and aside, sending the black belt crashing face first into the mat. The thud echoed through the silent dojo as gasps rippled across the room. Tyler lay stunned, unable to comprehend how his power had been turned against him so easily, while Rebecca stood over him, calm and unshaken. "How did you do that?" he finally stammered, pushing himself up, his pride cracked. She offered her hand and answered softly. 13 years of practice before I ever set foot in this dojo." Humiliated, he ignored the hand, scrambling up on his own as his students stared in awe, watching the man they'd thought invincible brought to humility by someone they'd all underestimated. "That's impossible. You're just a mom," he muttered. "No," Rebecca replied firmly. "I'm someone who stepped away to raise my daughter. But that doesn't mean I forgot who I was." At that moment, Chloe stepped forward, her voice trembling with pride. "Mom was Rebecca Chun, 3-time world champion. She retired when I was little." A stunned silence fell. Phones lit up as students searched her name, their skepticism turning into awe as highlights and articles confirmed the truth. Tyler's expression shifted, shock, shame, then the stirrings of respect. Turning to his class, he admitted quietly, "I owe you all an apology. This wasn't teaching. It was bullying. Mrs. Thompson showed me what real martial arts is, not just technique, but the wisdom of when and how to use it." Rebecca nodded gently. "The strongest thing you can do is admit when you're wrong. Your students will respect you more for it." Tyler squared his shoulders and addressed the room with sincerity, confessing his mistake and acknowledging Rebecca's lesson. And in that moment, the dojo learned a truth they'd never forget. Sometimes the most powerful people are the ones who hide their strength until it's absolutely necessary.